Hi everyone, welcome to the first ever iPad video diary series. My name is Emma, and yeah, so like I said, these are gonna be like video diary type of videos, and this is the first one ever, and hopefully there's gonna be more, but yeah, essentially, these will just kind of be kind of very raw takes of me just talking just because I do feel like I have a lot to say, and I think this is kind of the best format, or just the best way for me to just speak and talk my talk. Since this is like the first video, I'll just kind of like go into how I've been feeling and what basically led up to me kind of doing this type of stuff, like content, I guess, creating content. So yeah, like I said, my name's Emma. I'm turning 22 this year, and I'm gonna graduate university this year. I'm in my fourth year of architecture school, or architecture undergrad, I should say. Um, so I guess if you're like in any type of creative program or architecture specifically, I feel like you kind of already know why I'm doing this type of content, or just like feeling like doing this. Really, it's just like the struggles of architecture school, and just the struggles of being in a creative program in general really kind of bring out this sense of burnout and this feeling of lostness and just being completely lost. And so yeah, I'm turning 22 this year. I know I'm still really like young, but it is scary graduating university and feeling very lost and not really knowing what you want to do, or like not necessarily not knowing what you want to do, but just really, for me personally, it is kind of the feeling of not knowing what to do, but it's also the feeling of there's so much out there that I would want to do, and just the feeling of not being able to do what truly is my passion, or truly makes me happy, or doing everything I want to achieve. But I guess, okay, let me just kind of like break it down more and give you the full explanation. But that's kind of the overall vibes of how I feel and whatnot. Um, so going into university, it's the funny thing about now, but going into university, I really thought that this was going to be like my shit. Like, I really thought architecture will be for me. Going in, I had a very one track and narrow mind. I thought I was going to do super good. I thought I was going to meet such great people. I thought I was going to be like this star student and then come out of school with like a bunch of job opportunities. And that could not be further from the fucking truth right now, right? I mean, it's kind of honestly good for me for having the confidence to think that way about myself. Like, good job. Um, but yeah, that's certainly not how I feel 4 years later. Yeah, I think that, like I said, I had a very narrow mind going into school, and the really cool thing about my program is that we got to dip our toes and try so many different types of expression and art. It was not just like architecture. My program is very arts based. So there was a lot of trial and experimentation that I felt like I got to do compared to other maybe architecture programs or just other programs in general. Like, my program obviously had to focus on architecture, but I got to explore a lot more writing than I thought I was going to be doing. I got to explore visual art. I got to explore multimedia art, film, photography, and overall, just my program really stressed, and my education really kind of stressed and pointed me in the direction that architecture can be anything, and it's not just buildings. You know, you can apply architecture to many different creative fields. I feel like that the paths I can take and the opportunities I have, like, there's just so many that I could go for in a way. Like, there's so, like, I'm coming out of this degree thinking that there's so much else I want to do, and there's so much more to life than just being an architect or just going into I graduate like going straight away into architecture grad school. And that's not like wrong. And I think that being at the end of the day, I do think that being an architect is still a goal of mine, or going to grad school and something maybe architecture is still a goal of mine, I think. But it's also like I've learned so much, and I've learned that there's so much more out there in school that I'm feeling like I don't I don't know what I want because of that. But also, I also feel that I'm not particularly good enough to be an architect, but I think that's like a whole other, I guess, video or I guess topic to talk about because, yeah, I do feel like I'm just a small fish in a big pond in school in general. So, like, my feelings, like, yes, I'm lost, or not really lost, but yes, I feel like there's so much for me to do and I want to explore more. But I also just feel like being an architect, you like it very much requires you to be a very specific type of person. And I don't know if that I'm the type that will make it into grad school, make it out of grad school in one piece type of thing. So yeah, there's that. So I like to think of Sylvia Plath's fig tree analogy because I really feel like that kind of encapsulates my feelings right now towards my future. Yeah, so I'm gonna read it if you guys don't already know it. I saw my life branching out before me like the fig tree in the story. From the tip of every branch, like a fat purple fig, a wonderful future beckoned and winked. One fig was a husband and a happy home and children, and another fig was a famous poet, and another fig was a brilliant professor, and another fig was E.G., the amazing editor, and another fig was Europe and Africa and South America, and another fig was Constantine and Socrates and Attila, and a pack of lovers with queer names and offbeat professions. And another fig was an Olympic lady crew champion, and beyond and above these figs were many more figs I couldn't quite make out. I saw myself sitting in the crotch of the fig tree, starving to death, just because I couldn't make up my mind which of the figs I would choose. I wanted each and every one of them, but choosing one meant losing all the rest. And as I sat there, unable to decide, the figs began to wrinkle and go black, and one by one they plopped to the ground at my feet. Yeah, so I think she describes the feeling of not of being unable to choose kind of what future you want really well. And that kind of is how I feel. Um, and the quote is scary. It feels like almost like a cautionary tale. You have to be decisive. You have to choose something before time runs out, essentially. Um, and, that is really scary, thinking that I have to choose eventually, or I have to choose so soon, like which future I want. But I think right now I don't feel too much of that scared, and right now I don't feel like I'm starving. I don't feel like I'm sitting at the tree starving. Right now I'm still kind of looking in awe at all the figs, essentially. And I think it's okay. I think it's okay for me to kind of explore my paths before I really choose which fig I want. So, yeah, that's kind of how I look at it and kind of what I'm doing basically and why I wanted to do all this. Like kind of how I feel right now, and that was a whole lot of yap. But that's how I feel right now. And like I said, I'm trying to like branch out and explore other creative fields, and so this is kind of one of them, talking, making videos and expressing myself. Yeah, that's just how I've been feeling these past 2 years, or that's just kind of what's been brewing. Um, and because of that, I really wanted to start experimenting with a bunch of different, I guess, paths and stuff, just to like, because I'm someone who I think I feel a lot of things and I have a lot of thoughts. And some people can just live with having those thoughts in their head, but I am someone who needs to get it out. And so, I've really started to write more. I have a blog. You guys should go check it out. It's called The Dotted Sketchbook. And it really started with the blog, and the blog was my first kind of step out and like kind of experimenting with different things and like with different creative outlets. So the blog was really the first step in that direction, or in a new direction, I should say. Um, and yeah, basically, I just I kind of just want to start talking about things that mean a lot to me, talking about things that are passionate to me, and really following my passion and have doing things that are fueled by passion. And, just saying my thoughts and writing my thoughts into the void. And this is essentially, these video diaries are kind of an extension of my blog posts, or just kind of like what I do in the blog. I'm really just speaking my thoughts into the void. And if you're here in the void, if you hear it through the void, I don't know, something like that. So, yeah, I'm just like, I mean, the blog is one thing, this is another thing. Um, I've been thinking of like doing some graphic design stuff, some more multimedia or digital art. Like I've really been thinking about expanding my portfolio, and I think this is something, and the blog is another thing, and my other art is another thing. So, yeah. But I guess going into like the very specific moment that really kind of struck me to start doing more would have to be during my second year studio. And I actually made a blog post about that. So let me like kind of pull it up. So this like event kind of also inspired the name like of my blog and the name of this channel. So basically, yeah, during my second year studio, I was like facing insane burnout. And it was not just burnout. I think every part of my life was slowly going up in flames. And so like my personal life was a complete mess. Like I was just coming out of like an insane breakup. Like first and second year were absolutely insane, like mentally. That is also a whole other video. Like it was absolutely crazy, but like because of that, I was just like dealing with a lot in my personal life, and so obviously it was affecting my academic life a lot, because it was so hard to do anything and focus on anything when, I mean, I feel like if you've been through it, like it's so hard to focus or do anything when all you want to do is stay in bed and cry yourself to sleep, and then wake up and then cry yourself to sleep again. um but and then after, like, so yeah, I was just feeling really sad, but like the days I wasn't feeling sad, I was just entirely numb. And it's it's just hard to function when you're like that, but of that's not the point of this video, I guess. So yeah, I was just like exhausted, burnt out. I had no ideas of my own. I had no inspiration. Like I was like on autopilot. I was just numb. And so for studios, you kind of are expected to, show up to class with progress or with an idea or a sketch, drawing, diagram, something. Like you're expected to kind of come into class with that basically every week, and have something new, and and there was weeks like I just didn't have anything, again, because like I was like academically I just wasn't there, and so some weeks I just had no progress. And so before class I would really quickly try to like sketch something out on my iPad to show my instructor. And you know drawing has always been something that I thought I was like capable at. Like I always thought I was like decent at drawing, or like like I could get by with my drawing skills. But clearly not, because I showed my instructor my drawing and he said that my drawing skills were really poor and it was an awful drawing, and I had to work on, basically I had to improve my hand drawing skills because everything I showed him was apparently really bad. And I know it sounds harsh. If you're not in like a creative program, you probably hear this, go, wow, that's awful, why would they say that? And like it is awful when like your instructor says something like mean to you, but I think it was the criticism I needed to hear. It hurt a lot, but I think I really did need to hear it. And so, yeah, those comments stuck with me, and it made me feel really upset for a while that, like, oh my God, like I can't believe I'm bad at drawing. But I guess that sadness or upsetness kind of fueled into the will to improve and the inspiration to improve, the motivation to improve. And so a few weeks later, I went to an art store and decided to buy a sketchbook, because up until that point, for some reason, I just wasn't using a sketchbook to sketch in or have ideas, and I was just using iPad, or I was literally just like no sketchbook, no ideas, just going in to my laptop and just doing things. Right. And so like I don't know, I just didn't have a sketchbook. So I went and bought a sketchbook, and I wasn't really paying attention, and so I just purchased one with a pretty cover. I still have it. So this is my sketchbook. This is my baby. I'm almost done her. But yeah, I like the color. It's like a wine purple. She's gorge. Um yeah, so I bought it. I left the store, and like once I was outside the store, I actually looked at like what the fucking sketchbook said on it, and it was a dotted sketchbook. It wasn't, I was going for a plain sketchbook because I was thinking of sketching a lot, but this one was dotted, so I was like, fuck, like the pages aren't blank, what the hell? And I was like, that's so stupid, like how could I make that mistake? But I honestly think that that mistake was like a happy little accident. Like it was meant to be, because the fact that it's dotted kind of means I can write without it looking messy. And so this sketchbook became a lot more than just a sketchbook. It became kind of like a journal and a way for me to not only practice my drawing skills and drawing expression, but also practice my creative writing and just like being able to dump my thoughts in here, my thoughts, poetry, like just really work on myself and writing, not just working on my drawing skills and my drawing expression. I think in the end it really worked out, and I'm happy I got a dotted sketchbook, because that my sketchbook is my inspiration, and my sketchbook, like everything goes in my sketchbook. And so basically, really, the blog is kind of an extension of my sketchbook, and these video diaries are an extension of my blog, which is an extension of my sketchbook. So this is an extension of my sketchbook. Um yeah. Yeah. Kind of the why and the how for what this is. And that's just where I'm at right now. It is a little stress inducing and anxiety inducing to be in this state of confusion, but I think this is part of the journey. And you know what they say, it's not always about the destination, but it's the journey to get there. Or you know the saying. You know the saying. Yeah. So that about sums up where I'm at right now. I haven't really done too much, and that's basically the extent of my blog. But if you want to go check it out, I do have some other, I guess, posts and stuff you can look, like you can check out if you want to know more. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely, once school ends, I'm definitely gonna be kind of doing more of this and really like writing more and talking more and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for listening to me. I hope, honestly, if you relate to this, I hope it makes you feel like less alone, and make it not so scary, because I think all of us young people, we're in it together. I mean, we're just trying to survive. We're just trying to figure out what we want to do. Yeah, so if you feel just like me, then that's okay, I think. Yeah, thanks for listening. Thank you to my 2 listeners for listening to me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.